Egyptian forces have been raiding the offices of human rights groups throughout the country. Reports say soldiers stopped employees leaving and interrogated them while searching their computers. To talk about this, we're joined now by Dr Adil Shamoo, senior analyst from the Foreign Policy in Focus, joining us now from Maryland in the US. Thanks for being on the line. Dr Shamoo, why do you think these rights groups and activists were targeted, and why now? What are your thoughts about it?
Well, this is part of the military, the SCAF, the Supreme Council of Armed Forces, way of making sure that the revolution basically is molded to the type of government they want, because those are the same generals, by the way, who worked for Mubarak, the dictator. So that's really basically is part of that struggle. Is the revolution going to go forward, or is the revolution going to be molded and subdued into submissive role to the military?
Can you just highlight for us what role NGOs have as Egypt moves to a fledgling democracy, and are they crossing the line of interference, do you think?
I don't think they're crossing the line. As a matter of fact, I'll quote a tweet by Mohamed ElBaradei, who is the presidential candidate in Egypt now. And he said these organizations are the guardians of a nascent revolution. And that's really what these are, because democracy without infrastructure for the civil rights and human rights of its populace is really not a revolution complete.
How is this news going to go down with the already impatient Egyptian people? I mean, these raids are going to do little, are they, to quell suspicion that the interim government is little different to the old regime? You just mentioned there, a lot of the people involved are the same people that were in power before.
Absolutely. And I think that is going to backfire on the military again, and they may take a step backward. But really, the military has to step aside and let the civilian government come to power once the elections are held. And the election should be held as soon as possible. They will not give up the power that easily. But I think the Egyptian people and the Arabs in general have lost their fear from corrupt government, and they have restored their dignity, and they will not tolerate another military dictatorship in their country. I think all the evidence indicate that, despite the sacrifices they have given.
You mentioned the elections there. I mean, they're taking place right now. How might this impact on those? And what's the military worried about?
Well, the military is worried about because many of these parties, the overwhelming majority of them, they really truly want a parliamentarian democracy, not somebody who's going to just listen to the military and do what the military wants, including the Muslim Brotherhoods. They're very moderate. They are in a coalition with many other parties, liberal parties, many of them, and they want to have a civilian government. And that's really what worries them. They thought all the parties, including the Muslim Brotherhoods, will be with them, basically a semi-dictatorship of the military.
You're closely following events there. Are you at all surprised by this move that we're reporting tonight? This, what they're doing, looking at the information like that?
I am a little bit surprised, because this law was passed by Mubarak's regime in order to curtail any human rights activity in the country. So they're using the Mubarak's regime's law, which no one really was abiding by, hoping that all these leftover laws from Mubarak's regime will die as the regime has died just recently, a year ago.
Have you any reason to be cheerful about how it's going to turn out in 2012? How do you think things are going to turn out?
Oh, I'm an eternal optimist in general, and I think it will turn out all right. I think the civilian government will come and take power, but it will continue struggle. As you know, revolutions are not completed within 6 months or a year or 2 or 3 years. It's going to be a struggle between two forces. The forces who want to have true democracy, and those forces who want basically a curtailed democracy.
It's always good to have an optimist on the programme. Dr Adil Shamoo, Senior Analyst, Foreign Policy in Focus, thanks ever so much.
Thank you.